other side of the trail on 17 here. So we're gonna ride this over to the trailhead and then continue on. So yesterday was about 4 miles and I was cooked. First time on the bike, the fixed gear, didn't have it really set up right. Turned out for a long time I had my saddle height where I thought it was supposed to be, and it wasn't the most efficient, as I learned in the bike shop yesterday when I was shopping for a new bike. And originally I wasn't shopping for a new bike per se. I mean, we're always shopping, right? But I needed to get new tires for the fixed gear, and of course nobody actually had what I needed in stock because the market trends have shifted, and there was probably something that would have worked, but you know, I knew that that bike was just, you know, it was cool when I was younger and more fit, but I'm not really in the shape that I was back then, and it just hurt to ride. So I sat on a couple of new bikes, and you know, it was a market segment with the hybrid bike thing, you know, which is not very exciting or glamorous. There's not a lot of enthusiasts out there making content about them because they're the minivans of the bicycles. You know, they're practical, they do everything good enough. That's the bike most people want but don't want to admit that they want, and the bike that a lot of people need but they won't. You know, and that's the thing about enthusiasts, right? Enthusiasm, market enthusiasm, is a child of capitalism. And so, you know, they want you to spend money. They need you. The market's sole existence needs you to have multiple bikes. It's like the same with sewing machines. There's a lot of parallels between sewing machines and bicycles, right? That if you only buy one sewing machine and it lasts you your entire lifetime, and you pass that down to 2 or 3, 4 generations of people, and they all sew with the same machine, they're not going to be in business, because eventually there's no need to buy machines. Like, there is literally no reason for you to buy a brand new sewing machine right now. There are more used machines in America than there are people that know how to sew. And I don't have any real hard statistics to back that statement up, but I don't need to, because I know I own like 10 sewing machines. They all work, they all service greatly, and whenever people find out I sew, they always, oh man, I always want to learn how to sew. And I offer them one of my machines, and most people don't take me up on it, you know. And I go out and I find these machines and I spend money on them, and I tune them up and I do a service, which again would cost you money to go have a technician do for you, and I offer to give them away for free, and people still say no. So yeah, and I'm not the only one that's like that. I know a lot of people that do the same thing. They sew and they fix up machines and they try to give them away because there's just so many of them out there. And the old machines were meant to last. So, you know, I'm sewing on a machine right now that is over 100 years old, I think. If it's not 100 years old, it's close. I can't remember if that one's from the 20s or the 30s, but it's damn near 100 years old either way. And it's one of the best sewing machines in my collection. So Singer had to figure out ways to sell you new machines, just like the bike shops. So now everybody's convinced they need a gravel bike. Well, Let's see. Oh, look, there's a gravel road right there. Yeah. You know, a general purpose bicycle. Any bicycle can ride down most gravel roads, especially fire roads that have been graded. You could do that on a damn 10-speed from the 80s. A Kmart bike, a Montgomery Ward's bike with the old friction derailleurs. You don't need a fancy group set. You know, there's people that do that with single speed bikes. Single speed, flat bar, gravel bike. Well, so yeah, to my point, I could have bought a used bike, and in fact I did try to buy a used bike. I went to all of the local bike shops in my area, and I told them what I was looking for. And it is peak bicycle mechanic time, so I understand that, you know, they didn't have anything available. It's the middle of the season, I get it. But yeah, so I took my bike in to get it fixed up, get some wider tires put on it, some more comfortable bars, and that's gonna be 2 or 3 weeks. So pulled out the fixed gear, and fixed gear needed some love too. It hadn't been ridden in a couple years. It hadn't been seriously ridden in a few years. So yeah, that's how I ended up on the new bike. But I really do like this bike. It's very comfortable. It's you know, I'm not really super techie when it comes to things, so you know, probably won't be an 8-speed works great for me, right? Because the majority of my bikes have been single speed, and the handful of multi-speed bikes I had, I live in a pretty flat area, kind of only live in 2 or 3 gear sets. And this bike here, I can actually just, you know, should we go over the bridge, or we'll go over the other path? Let's go over the bridge. Yeah, so I can pretty much treat this like a single speed. It's nice to have those other gears in case I ever have to climb, potentially. It's a cool little boat launch right there. Yeah, so far I don't know how many miles I've ridden so far, but God, this is worlds better than I was yesterday. I was damn near in tears after 2 miles yesterday. So this feels pretty good. I think I'm glad I made the investment. And when the other bike is fixed, then I'll have 2 bikes. The nice thing about the other bike is it's an old hybrid Schwinn Super Sport, so you know, not a very desirable bike. You know, obviously if you leave your bike unattended, you're asking to make a donation to somebody who wants your bike more than you do. That's just facts of life. But the chances of somebody going out of their way to steal a bike like that, I just think are a lot lower. And I don't know, I grew up in the city, so even if you had a nice bike, you didn't want to look too nice, and you didn't want to look too new, because professional bike thieves, there's nothing you can do to keep them from taking your bike if they want it. So the trick was just to make your bike unattractive and more difficult than the next person down the road. You know, don't be a soft target, right? Yeah. Anyway, it's a lot of talking. Maybe we're doing a good job of filling up this space here. Even though this looks flat, I'd be curious to know what the grade is and to know how inclined it is.